Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And welcome to Love and Light TV. I am so glad that we are able to come together this morning to be able to talk and discuss and have this time of empowerment and love and light and hopefully say something that is going to bless you. When you log on, please make sure that you thumbs up this video as well as let me know that you are in the room. People are coming in, and for that we are eternally grateful. We're just a little bit behind time getting everything done. Good morning, Life by L. Good morning, Kendall Murray. Good morning, everybody. I am excited about another Love and Light Empowerment. Good morning, Regina Harrigan. Every time I have to look closer. I'm going to start wearing my glasses, I think, when I do this, or at least put some context in. Good morning, Barbara Hyman. How are you? Oh my gosh, it is so good to be able to connect with you all on this morning. Good morning, Shonda Ray. How are you and the wife? I hope that you all are well. I love you all so much. I love you all so much. Good morning, Ashley. Good morning. I'm a huge fan of yours, Ashley B. Good morning. Good morning. What is that? Unuser Heart 1? Okay. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So listen, this morning we're going to talk about overcoming fear. And I am going through that process now. And you know, the things that you all hear me speak about, it is because I have gone through the process, or I am going through that process, or I've had some type of experience. And so now what I want to do is just give you all more of a real-time experience with me as far as what it is that I am currently going through, what it is that I am currently dealing with. Because many times it is so easy to be able to speak on a thing and speak from a place of education, or speak from a place of what you've heard from somebody else, or speak on a topic that seems exciting or seems wonderful, but you don't have no experience, so it's hard to put your heart and your emotions and your most authentic self into that experience. What you could be saying is facts. You may have read it in a book or done your research. However, until you have lived a thing out, you really don't have that full knowledge. But once you get an opportunity to live something out, once you get an opportunity to go through something for yourself, it gives you a different stance and a different opportunity to be able to speak that or empower somebody on a completely different level. And so that's one of the reasons why the universe allows us to go through so many things. It's because that there's a greater power behind going through things. When you go through things and you are able to overcome them, and you're able to grow from them, and you're able to conquer it, and you have that experience, it helps you to empower people even the more. Yes, we go through things for life lessons. Yes, we go through things for evolution and matriculation, but we also go through things so that we will be able to empower people on a greater level. Everything is not just for you. Good morning, Sharon Mitchell. Everything is not for you. Some things that you go through for other people as well. All right. So I'm just excited, and I want to just talk about overcoming fear. If you look at my Facebook, on my banner on my Facebook, says fear is a liar. I don't believe in the devil. I've kind of moved past that, and for those people who do, I respect where you currently are. I don't have a problem with that. For me, just through my study, my experience, what I've learned or I should say over time, I've just learned that the devil doesn't exist. However, do I believe that negativity exists? Yes. Do I believe that a darkness exists? Yes. So some people may classify that as the devil, and I'm okay with that. We can have different words for the same thing, all right? And that's okay. That's okay. I have a friend who every time he says the word blue, he says azul. For me, I say the word blue. We're talking about the same exact thing, just two different ways. And so I learned that my greatest enemy in life was not the devil. There's not, for me, there's not this entity that is trying to defeat me or make me hurt or try to destroy me. There's not that entity. I believe, for me, my greatest enemy is the fear that has been within me. And it took me a long time to discover what my greatest fear actually is. And my greatest fear is and has been the fear of time. The fear of time. And I don't know when that fear started manifesting in my life, but my whole life, all I remember was I felt like I got to do this quick because I'm going to run out of time. I gotta make sure this gets happen and make sure this happens and make sure this gets done and make sure I do this and make sure I accomplish this and make sure this happens because of fear. And honestly, when I look back, because the number one way to overcome fear is first you got to face that you have the fear. And I did not understand why I was making all of these irrational decisions for my life, like with relationships and when it came to money and when it came to jobs and when it came to responsibilities and when it came to different things, I would be making all of these crazy decisions based on the fact that I did not know if I was going to have enough time. So step one is you got to face the fact that you have this particular fear. You cannot conquer what you do not confront. And I had to see in my life the root of the patterns that were going on, and it all came down to my fear of time. My fear that I was not going to have enough time. I didn't know if I was going to die or if something was going to happen to me or if I did not do it, then somebody else would do it before me. I had all of these fears surrounding time. So my whole entire life, I would take shortcuts. Instead of matriculating the right way, I would find a quicker way to do things, or I would find the easiest route to go, or I would connect with people that were the easiest to befriend, or the easiest to get into a relationship with, or the easiest route in ministry, or the easiest this, or the easiest that, because then I knew that I would be able to excel instead of slowly walking and matriculating. There's nothing wrong with running. There's nothing wrong with sprinting, but you can only run and sprint when you have properly prepared yourself to be able to handle everything that comes along the journey. And because I am the type of individual that I see the end of a thing before I see the process of a thing, many times I have not counted up the cost on what it was going to take me to actually get to where it is that I have to go. And if I did count up the cost, it only made me look for a shortcut that way or that much quicker or sooner. I didn't want to have to go through the process. I didn't want to have to endure the process of trying to learn a certain thing a certain way, or because I already felt like I knew what I was supposed to do. I could see the end of this thing. I could see the end. So I know where I'm supposed to get, but I did not always know the details. So I would rush through life. And the crazy thing is that at 40, I barely remember my life these past 40 years. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some things that stick out. There are some things that I do remember. There are some things that I do think about often. There are some experience of my life that I'll never forget. However, for the majority of my life, I cannot remember most of it. I'm grateful for Facebook and Instagram and things like that because it kind of gives you like years history. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that. So many great things that have happened in my life that I just rushed through. So many decisions that I made in my life that I just rushed through instead of actually processing the things that I needed to process in order to become the person that I actually need to be. I don't remember having the 20s. I remember things that's happened in my 20s, but I do not remember my 20s. I just don't. I started pastoring when I was 19 years old. So straight out of high school, I immediately went into pastoring. I didn't take any time. I went to Bible college and I immediately went into pastoring. Was I successful? Yes. Were a lot of people blessed? Yes. Did the church grow? Yes. I mean, we went from building to building to building to building. And on the outside, it looked like to everybody that I was right on track and that I was doing some amazing things and things were changing. And oh my gosh, it just looks like God is with him. But the problem with all of it was that I was not growing as a person. I didn't give myself a chance enough to grow. I was automatically thrust into the spotlight. So I did not really get a chance to grow like I needed to grow. And that's why at 40, I'm growing like I should have been growing while I was in my 20s. But I'm grateful for the growth regardless. However, I realized that the reason all of this happened was because of fear. And you all have heard me say this, the reason why all of my relationships happened overnight was because I was afraid that someone else was going to get them, or I was afraid of being by myself, or I was afraid that this time wouldn't come around again, or I was afraid that they would stop liking me if we didn't immediately get into a relationship. So most of the time when I got into a relationship, it was with people that I did not know. Even when I was pastoring and I was married, or I got married to my daughter's mom, I didn't know her. We never really went on dates. We never really hung out. I can probably think maybe 1 or 2 or 3 times that we actually hung out before we got married. I didn't know her family. I didn't know anything. I just knew that my ministry was seemingly successful. It was growing. The people wanted a first lady, and I wanted to continue to allow my ministry to grow. It wasn't because of love. It wasn't because I just thought, and now don't get me wrong, she's beautiful. I didn't know her. I didn't know her at all. And she, of course, she's excited. She gets to marry this pastor who's traveling, who is seemingly successful. But that's not really who I was, because I was so broken. And many times when we have gifts, it's so easy to hide behind our gifts. It's so easy to hide behind that greatness in us that sometimes people forget to see those human things in us. And then when those human things come out, people get let down, and then they become disappointed, and then they become angry, and then they become frustrated, all because we did not matriculate the right way. I'm grateful that my daughter's mom and I have a great relationship now, and we're in a good place, and she loves me and I love her as brothers and sisters. But it was never meant for us to be married. I'm grateful that my daughter is here. I'm grateful that my grandson is here. But I didn't take the right time to do anything. And even after that divorce, even after that situation, my pattern of that did not stop. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, Cookie with a K. My pattern did not stop. I was still going into relationships immediately without getting to know a person, without seeing who they are, without them getting a chance to know the real me. Most people, when they met me, all they saw was the Superman side of me. They never saw the Clark Kent. So when Clark Kent came out, many people were so frustrated and angry, and they had every right to be, because that's not who I presented. I only presented Superman, and then when Clark Kent came, I tried to hide it. I didn't want people to see my human side, and all of those behaviors were fear-based, because I did not want to miss out on whatever I thought I was going to miss out on. Good morning, Nikki. I was so like, oh my gosh, I gotta hurry up and do this and hurry up and do that. And I found myself in situations that I just did not want to be in. And that's what happens when you have a fear of time. Thinking it's never going to come around again. I'll never get a chance again. And many times I have been guilty of leaping into situations before I've been properly prepared, because the truth is preparation takes time. Regardless of how it goes, regardless of what you think you are currently able to do, it may look like you're able to solve the equation until you get into the middle of the equation. That's the thing that I love about algebra. And if you're, as a counselor, I always reference algebra. I always tell my clients, you can't teach algebra to a first grader. And the reason why is because algebra is a math problem that requires multiple steps. It's not like subtraction. It's not like addition. It's not like multiplication. And sometimes it's not like division. Well, most times it's not like division. However, it takes all of those things to make up formulas for algebra. So with algebra, you can't just solve it. You got to step it out. And algebra teaches you that just because you can do part of it does not mean that you can do all of it. And so you have to be prepared. You have to be taught. You have to grow. You have to mentally get it. And so I've jumped into things that I just was not ready for. And then I look around and I'm like, well, why is my life not where I want it to be? And then I had to ask myself, what have you actually prepared for? When is the last time you actually prepared? Now, later on in life, as I got into my later 30s, as I started taking different classes for like counseling and life coaching, I did take those classes and I was able to start preparing for those things, and which probably explains why I'm excelling in counseling and I'm excelling in life coaching, because I probably, prepared for those things. However, when it came to other things of life, I did not prepare for. And so even when it came down to how I handle finances, I was never taught how to really handle finances. And so because I always had this fear of time and me not having enough time, specifically, I would find myself in those situations where I would just spend. Oh, I'll get it again. Not saving, just spending. Not doing what I was supposed to do, not handling finances right. Because one, I just was afraid of time. I wasn't taught. I didn't prepare myself on how to deal with that. And that's a little bit okay when you're single because you can struggle by yourself. But the second you get into a relationship, nobody wants to deal with the fact that you don't have money, or you didn't save, or you didn't handle things the right way, or you didn't do the things the right way. And so many times what I thought was just normal and okay was dysfunctional, and I never saw it until I got into relationships with other people and they would call me out on it. And then of course I would become offended and get into my ego and my pride, and how could you say this to me? And then I would miss the lesson, and then I would have to go all the way back around again, all because of my fear of not having enough time. So I had to face my fear. Then I had to get to the root of my fear. Where did this fear come from? This fear came from my teachings growing up. All my life growing up, I heard, you're running out of time. 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 40 years of you're running out of time. You're running out of time. Whatever you're going to do for God, you better do it now. Whatever you're going to do, you don't got. And I remember people used to say this. You don't got time to be going to college. You got to get yourself together, and you got to do this, and you got to do that, and you got to do what you can do for the Lord now. All my life. That's what I heard. I never even thought I was going to live to see 40. I thought God was going to come back and the earth was going to be destroyed by the time I was 17, and by the time I was 18, and by the time 2000 came. All my life, I made irrational decisions because I wanted to hurry up and get things done. 19 years old, pastoring a church. I'm 40 years old and I'm still not ready to do that. Now, I will be ready soon. I'm preparing myself now, but I wasn't ready then. I was a kid. And even though I had success, and even though to the eye it seemed successful because I was driving a Lexus and I had people to take care of me and I had adjutants and assistants, and the church was growing, and oh my God, we had a band and a choir, and it was so beautiful and everything was just amazing. I was 19. 19. And the church was doing so good until I had to face issues in my life. So of course, you know how the universe does. The universe says, okay, everybody thinks you're wonderful and great, and that's good. And you're even lying to yourself, making yourself think that you got it all together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let some challenges come up so we can see just who you really are. And the moment challenges came is the moment I broke. And I walked away from everything. Everything was going good, but the second challenges came, I broke because I was not prepared for them. Mentally, emotionally, psychologically, Physically, I was just not prepared because I did not matriculate the right way because I was too busy being afraid of time. Being afraid that I wasn't going to get enough time to do it. Being afraid that somebody else was going to do it before me. Being afraid that I was going to miss out on my opportunity. Anybody that knows me knows that I can build a church like that. Anybody that knows me knows that I have the gift to gather people together because I'm charismatic. Anybody knows that I have the ability to be able to bring people together. But do I have the ability to and the wisdom and the maturity that I need in order to be able to keep it together? Just because you can start a thing don't mean that you can sustain a thing. So I had to learn, and I had to get it, and it took God and the universe to God, who is the universe. Let me make sure I make that abundantly clear, because sometimes I say universe, sometimes I say God, sometimes I say God and the universe. But I want to make sure that I'm being abundantly clear. God, who is the universe. It takes the universe just that much time to start allowing challenges to come so that I will start growing and evolving. That was the only way that I was going to get it. I had to grow and I had to evolve. But the only way that that was going to happen, because I didn't do it the right way, was through challenges. I had to go from this challenge to that challenge to this challenge to that challenge, from this challenge to that challenge. And I was always wondering, why is my life so crazy? But I knew how to keep it looking decent on the outside. I knew how to keep it looking good on the outside, but inwardly I was messed up and broken and hurt and bitter and mad. Making horrible decisions and constantly building on mess, constantly building on dysfunction, constantly building on craziness, constantly building on things that were not good for me, constantly building on bad behaviors, constantly building. But as long as I could put on a tie, as long as I could, because one thing the universe gave me was a $1 million smile. And as long as I could keep my smile, and as long as I could keep my eyes popping, and as long as I could seem like I had a good crowd of people around me, then I was okay to the eyes of people. When really that's not what it was on the inside. And that's all because of my fear of time, or not having enough time. If I'm saying something that's resonating with you, thumbs up this video just so that I know that I'm blessing you in some type of way. And so you have to learn to confront it. Then you got to get to the root of it. Then you have to start challenging what has been challenging you. And when I say challenging, I mean you have to start asking yourself, why do I believe what I believe? Where did this thinking come from? Where did this level of dysfunction actually come from? How did I get here? What brought me to this point? You have to start challenging what's been challenging you. How did I get to this place? At what point did I actually start to believe this? And when you do that, you start pulling back the layers. And you start seeing things about yourself you don't want to see. And I'm going to tell you now, that ain't cute. You start seeing this about yourself and you be like, that ain't cute. And then when you don't see things about yourself, like I told you all in another video, God will then send people who are just like you to show you you. When you don't or refuse to see things about yourself, God will start sending people to show you you. And then you're mad at them, and all they were was just a reflection or a mirror of who you are. That's why you can't get mad at nobody that's been in your life, because they're you. Maybe not in the same way. Maybe their hair is longer. Maybe they're light skin and you're brown skin. Maybe they're skinny and you're a little bit thicker. It does not matter. I promise you that God will start showing you you. in order for you to be able to start dealing with those places. Because in church, I was taught if you just got in a line and you just lift your hands and they put a hand on your head, that, ooh, everything was going to be okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe in the power of prayer, but I believe that prayer gives you insight to tell you to go home and do the work on you. And that's not always easy because we don't want to have to see the stuff that we have to work on. But I promise you, if you want to get to the next level of life and evolve past where you are, you're going to have to do the work. So you have to be able to confront the fact that you have the fear. Then you got to figure out where it came from. Then you have to start challenging what has been challenging you. And then you have to start practicing thinking a different way. So you know what I do now? When I feel myself rushing, I say, I have time. That is my new mantra. I have time. When I'm meditating, I have time. I am not fearful of time. Time is on my side. I have time. And it brings so much peace. Because I realize I don't have to rush for nothing. I have time. Now, that doesn't mean I become lazy. And that doesn't mean that I start showing up to stuff late. And that doesn't mean that when I'm supposed to be somewhere at 8 o'clock, I'm sitting around at 7:55 talking about, I have time. No, I'm talking about I don't need to make irrational decisions based on the fear that I don't have enough time. Number one, you got to face the fact that you have the fear. Number two, you got to get to the root of where that fear came from. Yes, Shonda Ray, patience. And number three, you have to start challenging what has been challenging you. We have the power to overcome all fear. And someone else's fear of something else is no different than my fear of time and what I've been struggling with. But I'm overcoming, and you're overcoming as well. I hope this video blessed you. Please share this video with anyone who you know is going through any type of fear. They can make it, and they can overcome, and they can become better and greater. I appreciate every last single one of you. Let this week be one of the best weeks of your life. And remember, you have time. I love you all. Love and light, everybody.